Good evening, everybody. I know I'm a little bit late tonight. I am so sorry about that, but I wanted to let you guys know I am actually here, and things happen at my place, and you may or may not understand. That's fine. I'm sure you see. Well, let's see. Let's point back this way. You see that little light thing over there? That is a very tiny disco ball. Okay, you're like, whoa, you got a tiny disco ball? Yes. The problem is that it is so bright for a USB lit disco ball that I had to put in an actual jar and put a plastic flower on top of it so that it wouldn't light up my room to the point where it blinded me, because that's a very, very powerful disco ball for something that is just like, yeah, you get the idea. So anyway, I wanted to give you a programming note. The programming note goes as follows. If it does not massively rain overnight and into the early morning hours tomorrow, I will go to Warrensburg and videotape the fireworks there. If not, that could be a different story. Because I am not going to go and endure a bunch of mud and possibly mosquitoes everywhere just to tape a fireworks show for you. Now, there's one thing I'm going to do right now. Never thought about it. We need to do this. There. It is still somewhat hot around here. That's why I'm wearing my shorts. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I know there's nobody in the live stream yet, but I'm sure there's going to be. If there's anybody that's going to be in this live stream, please let me know who you are in the comments section so that I can talk to you. I'd love to share with you. Okay? But I promised, and I deliver when I promise. I promised some people in the comments section of my videos, okay, because I had about 3 or 4 of them actually write me back after I did my videos. And I promised that I would indeed reply to them. Okay? And that's where we're going to go with this tonight. All right. So let's go with this. Normally, I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to start this live stream with a song review. Now, normally I start with education, but right now we're going to do a song review, and there's a good reason for that. Okay, so like I say, I am trying to respond to some people's comments on my videos, and this is why I'm going to do the song review first. Okay, now after I do the song review, I will directly address all the people that commented to me. Okay, there are some comments that were left to me, and I want to address them as quickly as I possibly can. Let me go ahead and turn this on. All right, and we need to switch this to video. Okay. Now, one other thing I'm going to address on this, I'm going to, as I do these videos, I'm going to say the words, but first, and then in just a minute, I'll explain why I'm going, but first, and then I'm going to pause for a second, and then we're going to go ahead and do the actual review. Okay, so hang in there. This video response is going to go out to the fans of George Michael or his friends, or I don't care who you are. But anyway, and that is because a music video of his was uploaded to YouTube, and I watched the music video, and I also read the lyrics to the song, and I had a few questions about the lyrics, and I'm going to ask those in just a second. All right, let's go ahead and start this music review. All right. Now, I think this is the first time I've ever watched a music video and I had nothing negative to say about the video itself. I mean, it's just him performing in concert. It's great. I love the energy of the music video. It was fantastic. I wish the lyrics were like the video. Really, I do, because that was one of the most uplifting music videos I've ever seen in my life. So I can understand why a lot of people like this thing. All right. But what about these lyrics? Well, I'm going to focus on them throughout the entire review. Okay. In this day and age, a jitterbug is basically some kind of a smartphone for senior citizens. But I wonder what prompted George Michael to sing this particular line in his song. Maybe so I can answer that. And who put the boom boom in your heart, and why did this person do this? Were you on an airplane when your spirit soared? So basically, you were dancing to the beat of your heart. Well, I guess you can do that. Might be fun. I don't know. What did your best friend tell you about the night before? You were sleeping in your bed and you didn't notice the person next to you had left the bed? Really? What high were you planning to hit? If you're going dancing, where's your favorite place to dance? How does your significant other take the gray skies out of your way? Now, if you have looked at the sun for at least 2 seconds, you will obviously see that it shines brighter than Doris Day. After all, I'm fairly positive that she wore sunscreen when she attended outdoor activities while she was still alive. So why are you so foolish when your lady is next to you? And why was she so cruel to you? What would you and your lady fight about? Where will you go to dance tomorrow night? And why was it so cold? And who else is dancing? Now, compared to the song Careless Whisper, this is actually a decent and, for the most part, uplifting song. The music is very positive and energetic, but some of the lyrics seem to be a precursor to the lyrics of Careless Whisper. I probably should have paid more attention to the lyrics back in 1984 when I first heard this song. Until I read the lyrics of this song, I had nothing but positive things to say about it. Now that I've read with such lousy lyrics factored into, a lot of us kids were not exactly rich back in the day, and we didn't have great big stereos that had, you used to listen to stuff off the radio, and if you had a great big antenna and good stereo speakers in the whole 9 yards, you could actually listen to this pretty plain and clearly. Or you could just go to the music store and check out the lyrics. I never thought about going to the music store and checking out the lyrics. I mean, it was just a song I heard on the radio, and I thought it was kind of cool. I never gave it a thought. Maybe I should have. I was only 14 at the time, so I didn't think about that very much. I mean, you're in high school, you're not thinking that way, but maybe we should have. But anyway, when you have radio reception is not all that great, even on FM, it makes a difference. Trust me. So now that I'm actually able to hear the lyrics the way that it was originally done in Dolby surround sound and all the other goody things, yeah, it changed. It changed my thinking quite dramatically. And of course, when it came to this song, the lyrics were sung so fast, okay? So if you had bad reception and the lyrics being sung so fast, you wouldn't have noticed what the lyrics were actually saying. So that's why I'm criticizing this song as well as Careless Whisper. In this particular case, because the lyrics were a lot more tame than the lyrics of Careless Whisper, I am going to go ahead and give this song a B+. Okay? And the reason why I'm not going to give it an A is because of the lousy lyrics. They're not all that great. And if you really check them out, you'll find out that I'm telling the truth. Oh, wait. Don't go away just yet. If you're watching this video right now, and if you're not like a family member or a friend of George Michael, feel free to go over to George Michael's YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, now This is the part where I start replying to comments. And the first thing, and I'll tell you who commented on this in just a minute, but the first thing you have to remember about George Michael is he is not a deity. I don't know a single person who would even want to worship him. Okay? He's not a deity at all. Overall, I have to say he was a very talented musician. That is true. Okay? Too bad he picked lousy lyrics for his songs. All right? And he did this routinely. He picked songs with very poor lyrics. I'm sorry, he did. Now that I have finished my review of Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, I will directly address Marianne Charlotte Jensen 1200. And that's because you left some feedback on my review of Careless Whisper. And here's my response to you. The first thing you should have asked yourself, and you could have asked me, is this. Why do I ask questions about songs before I actually give you my full review of them? Well, there's a reason for that. Intelligent people usually possess very powerful observation skills, if you have well seen. Okay? And these videos have been specifically designed to augment your observation skills. Did you notice the lyrics of the song? And we're not even talking about Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. We're also talking about Careless Whisper. Did you notice the lyrics of either one of those songs? Did you read through them thoroughly and begin to think about what those things were actually saying? We'll find out. All right. After carefully reading the lyrics of both Careless Whisper and now Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, I noticed a pattern of the material that George Michael sung about. I wonder how many people jilted him before he died. Did you notice the same thing? But I also noticed how hypnotic his songs actually were. I mean, you get into them and boy, you're just like zoned out. And it can happen. So think about all the people who bought his music when he was still very popular. I wonder how many of them actually took the time to carefully read the lyrics of his songs. If these people had been more observant, perhaps George Michael wouldn't have been so popular. I know personally, if I had examined the lyrics of his songs a little more carefully, I probably would not have enjoyed his music quite so much. But there you go. Now, I will tell you, as he produced more and more music, and I began to listen to these things, I just like, man, I don't want to listen to any more of his stuff. When he came out with Wake Me Up Before You Go Go, I was like, I'm into this. But by the time he got to the song Faith, I was like, I'm out of this. It's just another disaster after another disaster. And I was like, I'm done. And this is also true of his song Last Christmas. I hear that thing all the time, and by the time he came out with that, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. It's awful music. Okay, now I will review the song Last Christmas later this year, and I will show you how awful of a song it really is. And now I have reviewed it once before, but I'm going to go ahead and do it again, and I will go and do this more often. All right? Now, how does a discussion like this lead to my response to Peachy Dandy? Okay, now I had done a video a long time ago in response to Mark Ballinger. Now, if you don't know who Mark Ballinger is, you can go to his YouTube channel and see for yourself. Or if you want me to, I can link you up to my response to him. And if you check the description box of my response to him, you'll see a link to one of his videos, and you can then watch his material, and you can see what I'm talking about here. All right. Now, as I stated earlier, intelligent people are usually more observant, and you need these observation skills if you are pursuing job opportunities or even trying to develop a passive income. All right. Now, you have to remember something about marriages. Marriages are founded on good conversations, which means you're going to have to be more intelligent. Let me tell you something. You find in your case, and I'm assuming that the the person responding, this is just an assumption. I don't know. I know that the username is Peachy Dandy, but it almost sounds like this is a guy. It could be a gal. I don't know. I don't have enough details to tell you that. Okay, I'm just taking a wild guess here. As me being a guy, I can tell you this: if I was dating a lovely lady right now, she could be as beautiful as she'd be very, very boring. Okay. Let me tell you something. I enjoy balloons like you wouldn't believe. But let me tell you something. They don't last very long. Flowers are beautiful, but they don't last very long. And a young lady that can't have a good conversation, she's gonna be a part of your life very long. I promise you that. She'll become very boring and you want to get rid of her. Okay, so there's that. But good marriages also are comprised of compromises. Okay, you have to compromise. She has her way of life, you have your way of life, da 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 da. Okay, and job security is another thing. Let me tell you something. One or both of the spouses in the marriage will fall ill at some point. How ill, you never know. But let me tell you something. When you fall ill and you can't support this family that you formed, okay, you could be out on the street. Married couples that end up on the street don't stay married very long. I promise you that. They unless they are full of character and they rebuild their lives, they're not going to stay they're going to stay together while they're on the street. They're going to break up. And it could be a bad mess. So the idea here is that if you want a solid job where you're going to make a good enough income to support your family, you're going to have to become smarter. Why? Because have you seen lately with the artificially intelligent fry maker and burger maker? And that, let me tell you something. The fast food industry is going to change real quickly. Let me tell you something. I actually went inside a Steak and Shake recently. Do you know how many people greeted me? Zip. Zero. Zippo. Zippity doo-dah. I could have walked in there, punched a bunch of buttons on a kiosk, and then a person could have come out, put my food on a tray, and I would probably have less than a 5-minute conversation with them and walked right out the door. That's how impersonal some of these restaurants are becoming. And it's not the fault of the restaurants. The economy is not doing well. And a great chunk of that is because the educational system that isn't working well. Let me tell you something. If you're relying on the educational system of today, you're in big trouble. Okay? We're talking big trouble. You need to start relying on me. I'm going to tell you the things they won't tell you. They won't tell you about FASB statements, which you need to read. Certainly won't tell you any really necessary computer tech information. None. And look how much I've presented to you guys. And it goes on and on and on. Without this, you will not make it. The jobs are becoming more computerized. More and more people go into the kiosks. And these kiosks, they're not just in those major places like Walmart. Oh, no. There are other retail chains today using these kiosks, including, from what I've heard, in Aldi's, of all places. You can go to a kiosk, check yourself out, and get out of there. Now, how long do you think the employment opportunities are going to stay? If you want a good marriage, you have to start with a good education, and then you have to go for job security. If you cannot prove to a potential spouse that you can earn a solid income, whether you're that intimately involved with you, they're going to walk away. You're going to be in trouble. Okay, you have to prove that. And the thing is, I don't just want you guys to have a good job. I want you to take it one step further and get yourself a passive income, and you need one. You really do. What I'm showing you is what you need. Okay? So, now, does Mark Ballinger discuss any of this on any of his videos? I don't know. I haven't watched enough of them. I challenge you to try to find that information on his videos. Wonder if you can find it. It'd be interesting. All right. So at this point, it really doesn't matter if he ever addresses these issues or not. The point is, I address these issues, and I'm telling you, you need an education, you need a good paying job, you need a passive income, and you need to have a spouse that's not just good at looks, but also good at conversations. And you can compromise with these people. If you can't compromise with them, forget it. And if you can't meet their family, don't get that involved with them. Okay? In other words, if you really don't get along with their family, there's a good chance you're not getting along with them. If you meet the parents and you find out, man, I can't get along with these parents, break up with these people. Right then and there, because you can't get along with them, you're certainly not going to get along with this person because this person has traits very similar. Not always exactly the same, but similar to that family. If you can't get along with that family, there's a good chance you're not going to get along with that spouse either. That doesn't always work that way, but the odds are not in your favor. I can tell you that. Now, you may end up with a person that part of their family you can't get along with, part of it you can. That means there might be some reasonable people, and you might have a reasonable spouse. Otherwise, the odds are not in your favor. So there you go. Now, the subject of observation skills also extends to my reply to Rob4098. Did you ask yourself or even ask me why I added this extra introductory material to my latest videos? After I replied to you in the comment section of my video, did you check out the other YouTubers that were claiming that the likes and the subscribe, the like button and the subscribe button was going to motivate YouTube to share the video? They're saying to you is not. Why would you want to hear inaccurate information on video after video after? And yes, I did take the time and I did address them directly about this. They just ignored me. And I'm sorry they did. But the thing is that little YouTubers hear this kind of stuff and they think to themselves, this is what's going to get me all the ratings. It's not, folks. I'm sorry. It won't. I know. Okay, I've got better sources than these people do, apparently. And I'm telling you, it won't do it. Now, the thing is that why would I want to do it to every single video that I'm putting out right now? Here's the reason. Not everybody wants to watch an accounting video. Not every person wants to watch a computer video. Not every person wants to watch a mathematical video. I mean, I could make this as a video by itself, and it will never get any ratings because nobody will watch it. And on top of that, because they don't watch it, they'll believe the other guys. We can't have that. They don't want to believe a lie. Okay? But here's some other things that you really need to think about at this point. Because you're saying, okay, what does cause YouTube videos? And I stated this in the videos that I did the last time. With those observation skills, you should already know by now that what actually does cause videos to be shared by YouTube is two things. One, increasing the watch time. Two, leaving a nice comment on a video. Okay, that's what gets these things shared. Did you observe that? Did you talk to me about it? Now, I'll tell you a couple other things I've been noticing about YouTube. I have actually heard of the controversy about invalid traffic. And I'm not going to go into it greatly in this particular video, but I'm telling you what, invalid traffic, that's becoming a problem here on YouTube. And I've heard it from many YouTubers about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So already we have the problem of the 4,000 hours we have to acquire, the 1,000 subscribers. But now we also have this problem of invalid traffic. But there's also another problem developing here on YouTube. And I've been noticing this as well. Have you been noticing all the mid-roll ads? Not only are they not skippable, which is bad enough, but then on top of that, they're becoming longer and longer. We're not talking the 10 or 15-second video here. We're talking about 30 seconds per video, per commercial. These ads that are now over 30 seconds long, over and over, and you can't skip past them. And we're talking, they're injected with like 2 or 3 alternatives to this. Now, one of the things I've been doing, I started this as an archival thing, but now because of these mid-roll ads just constantly being bombarded to my students, one of the things I've been trying to do is load a bunch of my content over there on Rumble. Okay, so that if you get discouraged by watching this on YouTube, you can go over to Rumble and watch it there. Okay. Now then, you say, well, what's the difference between Rumble and YouTube? Well, I have always liked, and they could have even done this on YouTube, where you had a video at the beginning of the you have like an advertisement at the beginning of a video. This was done with Sesame Street. Do you remember, guys, that when Sesame Street would have these little ad things just before the actual Sesame Street episode started? You remember that? I don't mind a 30-second commercial right before the presentation. Sure, we're used to that in movie theaters now. What I do mind is when they cut right in the middle of a video. You're trying to learn something and it's cut off, and we were watching this video, and it's like, that is just downright annoying. Rumble, as far as I've seen, unless you got a super long video, you don't have those mid-roll ads with them. You have like one or two ads before the video actually starts, and that's fine, great. And then you might actually have an ad at the end of the video, which is fine. But you don't have them cutting through all your programming. And even if they did do that, say like a halfway through, that's fine too. Oh, we're used to that in television. Watch half your program, get a advertisement, and then you just go on to the other half. That's fine. But this is getting to the point of being ridiculous, and I'm trying to put a stop to this. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to be putting a lot more stuff on Rumble. I will put it on YouTube first for you guys, and then now I also have another reason for putting the stuff on Rumble, because there are people that refuse to watch stuff on YouTube, so they're not getting my videos. Okay, so I put it on Rumble, and now they're getting my presentations as well. So there's another reason why I wanted to put this stuff on Rumble. My next step, if I ever get some passive income, will be to do probably both of these things. 3 ways I'm going to do this. I have a Patreon. If you ever want to support me there, you let me know. I'll send you a link and you can go support me there. I like to put more content on my Kindle books and have them sold. And eventually, I would like to post up my own website where you could pay me 99 cents a month, not have to deal with any ads at all, and be able to watch my content. That'd be wonderful. I'd love to do that for you. So anyway, let me go ahead. I got a few more things to say. Nobody's responded to me yet. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back up here. All right. Now, one of the things that I will do in the not so distant future is I will put numbers in the description boxes of every one of my videos where I have this new introduction. I'm not going to tell everybody what those numbers are there for, but I'm telling you because I figured you would want to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put timestamps in these description boxes. That way, people that already know the intro can just go ahead and skip over that. And I'll do that for you. All right. So that's to be fair. Okay. The reason why I'm not going to make that clear in the actual description box, I'm going to say, hey, this is the timestamp, you need to skip to it, is because I want my new viewers to see that introduction. That way they know that what they're being told on these other YouTube channels is a total farce. And they can adjust their strategy accordingly. I seriously doubt any of them are going to watch this live stream. They might, I don't know. But if they don't, they don't. Okay? But as a favor to the returning viewers, I will go ahead and put timestamps in the new videos so you can skip over my new enter, go right straight to the video. Okay? Now, since we're on the theme of observation skills, we will also extend this to someone that I met recently. Okay? I met somebody not that long ago, and they actually checked out my YouTube channel. And their response was, well, kind of stern, actually. This person did not want me to interrupt them, and they wanted to make sure I understood that I really should fix the lighting in my bedroom and not have so much clutter and all this other goody stuff. I'm like, okay, and I told him, I said, would you like to pay me for that? Would you like to pay me a couple $100 so I can fix the lighting in my room and get rid of all the clutter? I don't want to do that. Well, who's going to finance all this? But it got worse. And you have to think about this for just a second. Okay. Now, granted, I am working on some presentations about the Xerxes 2 project. I'll get into that a little bit later on in this particular live stream. But the thing is that, think about this for a second. When I was young and I went to school, I can tell you right now, we used to sit in schools and we had these revolutionary things called chalkboards, and people beat the erasers, that kind of thing. Shoot, it was a real treat to get a film projector. Not to mention if you had a full movie, because we had a movie projector too. If you're really lucky enough to get that, boy, you were in good luck. You think education stopped just because we had a dingy classroom and chalkboards? Of course it didn't. If we were to go by the philosophy of the person that was speaking to me, then my most popular videos should be my HTML videos. Why? Because after lesson 1, you didn't even see my bedroom. You didn't see much of anything. You just saw my computer screen, and I would narrate as you were watching the screen. That should be some of my most popular videos. Or how about this? You know those Samsung smartphone videos? Those should be incredibly popular right now. But they're not. So that just doesn't hold weight. Look, you don't come to this channel to check me or my bedroom out. You come to this channel to learn things from me. And no matter how dingy my bedroom is, and no matter how I look or anything else for that matter, the fact of the matter is you will learn something from me if you pay attention. That's just the way it is. Now, despite this, I will, in the not-so-distant future, you should look. And if you need a link to the fan page, you let me know, and I'll add you on. So you can look at all this special code and everything else. If you're not doing that, that's your loss. Okay? Now then, I mean, think about it. Do you honestly think that I have the financial resources to fix everything up the way that this person wanted me to fix it up? No way. But when I get this computer code all fixed up, you're going to see me a lot less, because you're going to see all my graphical illustrations developed by me through the Xerxes 2 project. So you'll be seeing a lot more of that. Plus, I may take screenshots where I'm going to cover myself a little bit, and then you can see the screenshots rather than me. So there's that. So, let's see. I'll tell you one of my most popular videos right now. I just thought I'd use this as a further illustration. I have a video entitled Adding Minutes to a Prepaid Cellular Telephone. In the past 28 days, 581 people watched that particular video. as you can see in the video, my room was cluttered and I didn't have the best lighting either. Shoot, my videos watched practically every day. Contrast that with the Samsung smartphone videos. They're somewhere having they get 1 or 2 views a day. There you go. So now I want you to think about one other thing when it comes to the like and subscribe buttons. When they tell you about the like and subscribe buttons, they're getting lots of watch time doing this. Okay. And that in itself makes their videos more popular. If you watch through all that, you're handing them a lot of watch time, which is making their videos a lot more popular. You should skip their little introduction, and they're not going to be nice enough to tell you where to skip to. I'll do that, but they won't. I promise you that. Now, did you actually notice recently about the subscribe button? When you click it now, it doesn't just go click and you're done. It goes click and you have to choose your bell notification. Did you notice that? Your bell notification will actually share the videos more than the subscribe button itself. Because what that tells YouTube is that you want to be notified of these videos. So, did you learn anything? What's interesting to me is I tell you all this wonderful stuff, and I do, and I have no problem with it. And then you guys don't even watch these live streams until after they're done. It's just fine. I don't care either way. But it's more interesting when we have these kind of interactions. I don't know if Crazy Josh Cravy's up there. I forgot to tell him about this. Let me go ahead, because I wanted to be well educated. I forgot to notify him. There we go. So anyway, now that I've alerted him, I'll say this one more time. It's quite unusual for me to have the 4th of July off. And if tomorrow night we're able to go out and videotape the fireworks, that's great. If not, we won't. But anyway, I have a lot to teach you tonight. If you want to see some real fireworks, they're coming off right here. You want to know about the Xerxes 2 project? You want to know about some other stuff? Boy, it's coming up. Because I got a lot to tell you. All right. Now, let's do that. No, let's do that. No, let's get rid of that. How about this? And we'll just go to page 4. All right. There we go. I better get some stuff set up and ready to go. La 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 la. Pitch that. And we're about to begin. Got my dry erase board right here. Let's reset the camera. Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to have a humongous discussion about something, the random access memory of your computer. Boy, you're going to want to hear all this. I got a lot to tell you tonight. But first, okay, let's continue with the topic, shall we? Before the advent of the unipolar transistor, all data was stored on punch cards. If you want a complete history of that, you let me know and I'll make a video about it and you can see for yourself. That's why people who were employed at the time had, you remember the old punch stick of that manual machine? It would punch it for you. Okay, you punch at the start of your shift, you punch at the end of your shift. All right, this actually changed with the invention of the semiconductor. Prior to World War II, punch cards were used to computers to process information. These computers had to be constantly rewired to process various stacks of punch cards. Or they actually had paper tape. It doesn't matter either way. Okay? That's because each task required different kinds of input, and that input had to be processed in different ways. Can you imagine working with the computers that were available in World War II? That would have been fun. 3 years after World War II, there was a guy, and I'm going to go ahead and put his name on here. Ready for this? Yep, we had actually a guy. His name was Sir Freddie what a name, huh? Williams. Sir Freddie Williams. Okay. Now, he and a couple of his associates relocated themselves to a place called Manchester, England. Now, what were the names of his associates? Well, the names were Tom Kilburn, there you go, Tom Kilburn, and I may mispronounce this, but we're gonna try. It's Golf Tootle. There you go, Golf Tootle. Those were the associates of Sir Freddie Williams. Now, the three of them got together, did some research, and ultimately, this group of scientists developed a special electrical tube called the Williams-Kilburn tube. This tube resembled a cathode ray tube and these cathode ray tubes at the time, that's what normally would be used for televisions, computers, you name it. But this Williams-Kilburn tube was revolutionary. Now, the Williams-Kilburn tube had a, quote, screen, sort of like a television tube. But this screen had a grid full of dots. That's because this particular screen was coated with a special layer of phosphor. Electrons would collide with the phosphor coating. When the electrons collided with the phosphor coating, they would create dots on the screen. These dots would represent computer bits. Now, later on, we had semiconductors. If your semiconductor had electrons in it, then that was a 1. If your transistor at that time, the semiconductor transistor, if it had no electrons in it, it was a 0. Okay? That's how all modern computers work. You know, all your modern computers today work like this. Okay? In June 1948, Mr. Williams and Mr. Kilburn built a computer which they called Baby. They incorporated the Williams-Kilburn tube technology into their new computer. Then they tested their computer with a mathematical problem. The computer was incredibly slow and somewhat clunky, but it did manage to find the answer to the math problem that it was presented. Okay? Now, at that time, punch cards were still used to input data into the new computer, but the output could be printed on the Williams-Kilburn tube. But this tube was very inefficient. Only one bit of information was shown on the Williams-Kilburn tube at any one time. And this information quickly faded unless someone or something bombarded the over. At this point, you know everything you need to know about random access memory. That would be a huge mistake. There's another story I must tell you, and it involves the invention. It involves an invention that was created just before World War II actually began. Okay, so let's erase all these names here. All right. The next name I'm going to introduce you to is a guy by the name of Gusta. And, oh, wow, oh, let's do this again. Gusta Tauschek. If I mispronounce the name, I'm sorry in advance. All right. Now, this guy invented something called the drum memory. This drum memory looked a lot like a large hard disk. It was huge. And if you look it up, you'll find out. It was coated with a material that was ferromagnetic. Now, the word ferro itself, the etymology of that word is it comes from the word Latin word ferrum, which means iron. And in many ways, this drum functioned like a hard disk drive. Although both systems worked for storing data, they were very inefficient. Oh boy, were they inefficient. So, what happened next? Well, now we have to introduce you to yet another name. This man's name is J. Wright Forrester. There we go, J. Wright Forrester. Now, he studied electrical engineering at the University of Nebraska. By 1939, he was a graduate student and was working with the staff at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and you know them today as MIT. Now, Mr. Forrester's parents were both teachers, and he learned to ride horses at a very early age. He learned about the components of batteries and burglar alarms from books that were donated to. These books were donated by the government of the state of Nebraska at the time. Mr. Forrester's first accomplishment was the construction of a wind-driven electrical generator. This provided some power to his parents' home. And this would be like the wind turbines you have today, only not so sophisticated. Okay. During World War II, Mr. Forrester developed controls for radar-based anti-aircraft defense systems. During the war, he tried to fix the anti-aircraft defense systems on a United States aircraft carrier. At that moment, the aircraft carrier was deployed into battle, and suddenly he found himself in the middle of a firefight. Thankfully, he survived the ordeal. After the war, Mr. Forrester was asked by the United States government to develop an airplane flight simulator. He consulted with an acquaintance named Perry Crawford. I guess I better write his name down too. There's Perry Crawford's name. Okay, this motivated Mr. Forrester to build a computer called the Whirlwind. But this computer had a problem. It used vacuum tubes to process information. And as I stated earlier in this video, this was an inefficient way of storing and retrieving data. One day, Mr. Forrester saw an ad for some type of magnetic material. He decided right then and there that utilizing magnetic fields would be the perfect way to store and retrieve data. The United States initially funded the development of the computer called the Whirlwind. But their funds after World War II quickly dried up. After all, peace broke out and they didn't need the funds anymore. So Mr. Forrester was very worried that he would never finish the development of the Whirlwind computer. But then one fateful morning, he received a phone call from the United States Air Force. The Soviet Union had officially joined the nuclear arms race. And they offered Mr. Forrester the money he needed to finish the development of the Whirlwind computer. Although Mr. Forrester designed the new flight simulators and the Whirlwind computer, he signed a contract with the International Business Machine Corporation, which you would now know as IBM, to construct the devices. IBM engineers finally connected a device that looked like a chain link fence to a new Whirlwind computer. This chain link fence was comprised of objects that looked like donuts. Now, exactly how this looked, I can't tell you. I'm not an expert in this, but I'll tell you what I can. And if I get something wrong, you're welcome to leave me to correct anything I might have made wrong. These donuts were comprised of magnetic material and were strung on wires in an array pattern. Each donut represented a computer bit. If the donut was magnetized in one direction, it represented the number 1. If it was magnetized in the other direction, it represented the number 0. And this has been common through computers ever since. Not necessarily the wires, but the concept of 1 and 0. If you have electrons, it's a 1. If you don't have electrons, it's a 0. The donut wires could direct and change magnetic direction. But was this the end of the story? Oh, no. The next step in the creation of random access memory came in the form of metal oxide semiconductors. Ever heard of a MOSFET before? Oh, yeah. I bet that sounds familiar. If you have been watching my transistor YouTube videos, you will recognize this term. In future videos, I will try my best to explain in depth the inner workings of a metal oxide semiconductor. Shortly after the metal oxide semiconductor was developed, a man by the name of Robert H. Horman developed the very first static random access memory. Okay. There's Robert H. Horman for you. Okay. As you probably know from my unipolar transistor video, the American Telephone and Telegraph Company, otherwise known to you as AT&T, which was formerly Bell Labs, developed the transistor that we know and love today. This led to the development of the static random access memory. Now, what is static random access memory? Well, I'm going to get into that, not so much in this video, but in a future video. Static RAM contains flip-flop circuits. These circuits are comprised of at least 4 and possibly even 6 transistors. These transistors store electrons until they are told to release the electrons. Now, I'll grant you I'm not an electrical engineer and I don't have the expertise to explain this flip-flop technology in greater detail. If you want to go for it, make a video, send it to me, and I'll link this video up to yours. However, I will tell you that there is something called dynamic random access memory. In future videos, I may take the time to explain dynamic RAM in greater detail. If you're interested in such a discussion, feel free to let me know. I want to thank you so much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. Still nobody today. Okay. I'm going to take a brief break. I'll be right back. I bet you can hear the fireworks outside. That's coming. There's a middle school, so just a few blocks from where I'm at, and you can hear the fireworks from there. So, there you go. right. All right, let's continue. Oops. I think I better write this down. So what's the next topic of this particular presentation? Well, here we go. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to start a discussion about, I don't believe I did this. All right, let's get all down here. I'm going to start this video all over again. I don't believe it. Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to start a discussion about a topic you've probably not heard too much about, but we're going to talk about it anyway. We're going to be talking about, we're going to take the first step into something called the Xerxes 2 project. And the first step is we're going to be talking about the hypertext markup language, otherwise known as HTML. Okay. But before we discuss this, okay, now let's go ahead and discuss all this. All right. As I stated before, I'm going to start a discussion of the Xerxes 2 project. And the first term we're going to discuss is HTML. The hypertext markup language is a computer language web panel. Then you have to mention a name. The name that we're going to. There is Vannevar Bush. Mr. Bush published a paper entitled As We May Think. In his paper, he described a machine called the Memex. This machine would be able to store and retrieve data on microfilm. Now, this machine never really actually existed. However, the concept of it did, because he talked about it. Several people in the computer industry read this research paper and developed the first ideas on how to create the hypertext markup language. One of the people who read this article, which was entitled As We May Think, was a guy by the name of Tim Berners-Lee. Let's go ahead and show you his name. Whoops. I don't want to spell my name. I want to spell his name. Tim. Why his last name is hyphenated, I have no clue. But there you go, Tim Berners-Lee. Okay. Now, what did this guy do? He created the first browser editor and helped create the very first version of the hypertext markup language. Mr. Berners-Lee developed a computer program called Inquire. It was the first computer program that could link separate files together. So one file could contain a list of names and another file could contain a list of addresses. A command in in the program Inquire would look inside these name files and find a computer address that would lead the computer to an address file. And of course, the address file would lead the computer. Well, it would have the computer address that would lead to the name of the file. The technical linking of computer file addresses would be called eventually hypertext. Okay. If you're confused, you can read an article about this, about Tim Berners-Lee, because I have left a bunch of links down here in the description box below. Check them out. You'll love them. Although Mr. Berners-Lee didn't create the first web server, he did create the first software that the first web server used. He also created the software for the first web browser. Mr. Berners-Lee also established the World Wide Web Consortium. This World Wide Web Consortium was known as W3. And you're going to be reading about this a lot. This organization would create web standards that all web browsers would conform to. So what exactly is this hypertext markup language? Well, I'll do my best to explain the topic, but I'm not an expert in this field, okay? Now, what happened was they developed tags, okay? And what happens is, now, when you initially do this, you have to think of this whole thing as a tree. And this tree has lots of branches. So if you got an HTML document, which is all written text, plain text, okay, you can write this in any word processor. You can actually do this stuff on your phone, believe it or not. You have your head tag, your body tag, and then there'd be little branches out here too. Okay, and it just go on and on and on and on. I have 158 HTML lessons that explain this a lot better. So if you want to watch them, leave me a comment. I'll send you a link to the playlist so you can watch it to your heart's content. Okay. Now, each tag is considered something called an element. Okay. And in the web browser, there are certain little computer programs called scripts. And when you invoke these element tags, then scripts will run in the web browser. Okay, so if you have a paragraph tag, there's a little script that says, okay, the paragraph has to be displayed at a certain place and have a certain indentation from one paragraph to the next. So you could actually put attributes in these tags, in these HTML tags, and these attributes would give further details, and each attribute would have a little script as well that would run just because the attribute was in the tag. Nice, huh? So you could have, you could say input type equals radio, okay? And if you do that, then the script's going to say, okay, he's just told us that this will be an input device, and it's going to be in the shape of a radio button, and we have to place this radio button at a certain spot on his web page. That's what it would do. Okay. Now, and this is how the hypertext markup language actually works. If you want more information about this, like I said, leave me a link. Leave me a comment, and I'll post a link, and you can watch my 158 HTML lessons, and you can see all this stuff work for yourself. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Molly's in our live stream tonight, and she asked if I'm doing well. Yes, I'm actually doing just fine. And she wanted to wish me a happy 4th of July. I am glad you're here. I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad you are learning something from this. And I hope as I continue to teach you guys the Xerxes 2 project, you will learn a lot more. And possibly, you can actually design. You don't need that Adobe Photoshop. Not at all. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And when you see how much you don't need Adobe Photoshop, you're not going to spend hundreds of dollars to that thing. You'll write your own code and you can do it. Your web browser has it for you. It really does. You just have to learn how to use it. And I'm going to teach you how. Okay? All right. So I'm glad you're here, Molly. I welcome you. Let's see. Let's go on. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to introduce you to the Universal Product Code. I'll tell you its whole history and everything else. All right, but before I do, okay, let's get into this, shall we? Now, how many of you people, and I know that some stores use the pricing gun. Oh, boy. Okay, well, I happen to remember it very, very well. I remember the ink rollers that got more ink on my hands than the stickers that it produced. Do you recall removing the sticker from your hands when they wouldn't stick to the merchandise? Need I say more? So who saved the world from the pricing gun? Well, that honor would belong to a guy by the name of Mr. Joe Woodland. Joe Woodland. So what did Mr. Joe Woodland actually do? Well, years and years ago, Mr. Woodland was sitting on a beach in Miami, Florida. Why was he there? Well, he was there because he was staying with his grandpa. Now, you got to keep in mind that he had just come from Pennsylvania to stay with his grandpa in his grandpa's apartment in Miami. All right, so what was Mr. Woodland doing when he was in Miami? Well, he went to a beach and he started playing in the sand, okay? And what he did was he put his fingers in a specific way and he started drawing what would actually become the foundation of the Universal Product Code. So why did Mr. Woodland develop this idea? Well, we'll have to ask somebody else that question. The person we need to talk to is a very unhappy supermarket manager. One day shortly after World War II, this supermarket manager had an in-depth discussion with the then dean of the Drexel Institute of Technology. This dean could have cared less about the frustrations of the supermarket manager. But someone overheard their conversation. So who was this wonderful person that actually overheard the conversation? Oh, you're going to love this. The guy's name was Bernard Silver. There you go, Bernard Silver. Okay. Now, Bernard Silver had recently graduated from the Drexel Institute of Technology in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Remember, that's where Mr. Woodland had come from? Well, at that time, Mr. Silver knew somebody who wasn't quite so busy and would most likely be interested in such a task. And that honor fell to Mr. Woodland. Well, of course, Mr. Woodland jumped at the opportunity. So he left Philadelphia in the winter of 1948, moved in with his grandfather in his grandfather's apartment in Miami, Florida. And time again, he would visit a beach near his grandfather's apartment. And he began to think about something called Morse code. Ever heard of that? Well, he learned Morse code as a Boy Scout. Well, one day Mr. Woodland tried to punch dots into the sand at the beach, and he didn't pull his fingers away as he should have. Instead, he drew 4 lines. Some of them were small and some of them were large. This is how the Universal Product Code became a reality. But there were a couple of hurdles that he couldn't overcome at the time. Computers at that time were large and bulky. Can you imagine those in a supermarket? By the time you put those in there, you're not going to have enough room for the food. And they needed a lighting system that would not only read the barcode, but would turn that code into something a computer would understand. They didn't have that either. Well, we fast forward to the year 1960. Okay. We meet a man by the name of Theodore. Maiman. Theodore Maiman. Okay. Now, this guy created the first light amplification by stimulated emissions of radioactive device. There's a fancy name. That name will be in the description box of this video, so you won't have to look that up. This would solve the light issue that Mr. Woodland was trying to fix. But even then, computers were simply not capable of processing all those barcodes. Finally, in the late 1960s, the Kroger Company, yep, that company, decided to take a chance on the invention of Mr. Woodland. But the first barcodes were round, not square. And many companies refused to embrace the new barcode concept. Well, a lot of them couldn't even afford a computer at that time, and those computers were still kind of bulky. This was, of course, until the International Business Machines Corporation stepped in. And behind the square barcode was none other than Mr. George Laurer. There you go, George Laurer. Okay. Now, there were stipulations to the creation of these new barcodes. These barcodes were only allowed to have 10 digits. They could not be any larger than 1.5 square inches, and they had to be read quickly. Okay, so you couldn't just hold the barcode over the scanner for a lengthy period of time. You had to read it super quick. So Mr. Laurer finally came up with a barcode that could meet all of these criteria. And I have links to all these stories down here in the comment section. Not the comment section, but the description box below. The real question is how these barcodes actually work. That's kind of complicated. I'll try to do my best to explain how they work, but we'll let you do some more research on this. Every product you buy at most retailers have a square barcode attached to it. Of course, I have to state that there are some businesses that don't, and Hobby Lobby happens to be one of them. Okay? And there's a reason for it, and I'll have to explain that in a future video. Okay? These barcodes are called the GTIN12 barcodes. The acronym GTIN12 stands for the Global Trade Identification Number. Okay? A subset of these GTIN numbers, okay, is the Universal Product Code A number. This is the number most retailers use at their point of sale terminals. Okay? And you've seen these every time you pick a product up. You see these barcodes. Matter of fact, there's a barcode right there. Ta-da! Okay. Now, these 5 digits here, in this particular case, it was 39277. You see the 39277? Well, they represent the company that created this product. The final numbers, 37070, represent the number of the product itself. The last number over here is what they call a check digit. Okay. Now, there is a fancy algorithm, and you can look this up for yourself, that helps the computer generate a check digit for each barcode. You're welcome to look up this algorithm and see how it works for yourself. I'm not going to go any further with this, but now you got it. All right, so now you have the complete history of the Universal Product Code and how they actually work. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right, I got 2 people in my live stream. This is fantastic. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted, the Speed Learner. And tonight we're going to be covering something called the Document Object Model. This is very important to the Xerxes 2 project, and you're going to find out real soon how important this really is. All right, once upon a time, whoops. I'm going to do that again. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to be covering something called the Document Object Model, and it's part of our discussion of the Xerxes 2 project, and it's very important you know all this if you're going to participate in the Xerxes 2 project. But before I tell you about it, okay, let's tell you all about this. Once upon a time, web pages were called static pages. Why? Because you couldn't change anything on them. Once you put that HTML code in there, that was it. You're done. Okay, it displayed, but you couldn't press any buttons. You couldn't check any boxes. You couldn't do anything with these things. Period. Okay, you could not interact with these web pages at all. In the early 1990s, many people hesitated to install software in their computer because they thought the software would damage their hard drives and ultimately make it impossible for them to use their computers. Then a company came along called Netscape. They developed the first web browsers, okay? But the Netscape Corporation needed a programming language that they would complement the Java. Wow. Try that sentence again. But the Netscape Corporation needed a programming language that would complement the Java language that was being developed by the Oracle Corporation. Go figure. At that time, the Microsoft, Apple, and Linux corporations were quickly developing web browsers and web applications. In order for the Netscape browser to compete with those other rapidly developing web browsers, they needed a software that would operate on Windows computers, Apple computers, and even Linux computers. So they started talking to a guy by the name of Brendan Eich. Whoops. K H. There we go, Brendan Eich. At first, Brendan Eich refused to join the Netscape team. He was working for another corporation at the time, and he wanted to continue working for them. Less than a year later, he changed his mind, and in 10 days, he developed something called JavaScript. Okay. Now, I have web articles. The links of them are in the description box of this video, so go ahead and check them out. I'm presuming at this point you want to know how the document object model actually works, JavaScript language. But in those days, HTML pages were static. That meant the computer users couldn't interact with the web pages. When Brendan Eich stepped into the picture, he developed JavaScript. Now, now that you know some history about the document object model, let's explore how the document object model actually works. Do you recall a video I uploaded recently about computer objects, properties, and methods? Remember all that? Okay. I said, well, these are English grammar terms and these are computer terms, and they basically function the same way. Okay. If you don't remember that, I will have a link to that particular video in the description box of this video. And I may actually have it on an end screen at the end of this video. If you have ever tried to create a web page, you have used HTML tags. These tags are usually stored in some type of text file. So, what is the suffix of these text files? Well, it'll either be HTML, HTML, or HTML. Okay, they have these file extensions. That's what they are. When a web browser directs your HTML text, it detects your HTML text file, it creates something called a document tree. And I talked about this in a previous video, but I'll go ahead and show it to you again anyway. Okay. And what you'd have for your document tree would be HTML, like this. And of course, you'd have branches underneath, lots and lots of branches. And what you have basically, this is an element, so is this, so is that, and so are so many others. Okay. And the first HTML tag, of course, would be called the HTML element, and then you have the head element, you have the body element, etc., etc. So you start with the biggest branch, move over to the slightly smaller branch, and you see this in trees. I mean, if you look at an oak tree, you see great big branches, and then you have smaller branches to attach them and smaller branches to that. You get the idea. When a web browser encounters these element tags, it executes tiny programs that display what you want displayed on your web page. Now, in a previous video, I had already told you guys that I was going to that I had actually actually earlier tonight I actually recorded a video where I stated that I had 158 lessons in HTML. You can watch them. If you need a link to the playlist, let me know and I'll send it to you. Okay. All right. So if you want to know anything more about the document object model, feel free to let me know in the comments section below. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right, let's see who's all here. We've still got 2 people. I'm going to turn this air conditioner a little bit higher because I'm getting hot. And I'm also getting a little thirsty. One could become incredibly parched doing this. Okay. There we go. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight You're probably asking, what is a multiplicar? Well, yeah, it's a multiplicare. And what is a multiplicand? Well, do you recall in previous videos where I discussed the minuend, the subtrahend, the add-in, the sum, and the difference? We're going to explain these terms tonight. Yes, we're going to be talking about multiplication. All right, but first, okay, let's start the discussion. Now, first of all, how will you remember all these wonderful terms I've introduced so far? Well, after you use the food additives to make food, you place the food on a menu and you give it to a customer. Then you subtract your hand from the menu. Now, imagine that there are different menus in your restaurant. Now you can remember all the terms. Okay. Now I will show you how the words multiplier and multiplicand work. Okay. Now, multiplicare is the Latin term for multiplication. So we have a multiplier. We have a multiplier and a multiplicand. Okay. So let's have the number 2 times 2 equals 4. You've seen that, right? Well, this number right here is your multiplier. This number right here is your multiplicand. And this number right here is your product. Okay. Now, how are you going to remember that? Okay. Now, let's go back to our original illustration where you had the food additives. They were exposed to sunshine. You made the food, and you placed the food on menus, and then you subtracted your hand from the menus. And, of course, you had different menus all throughout your restaurant. Now, imagine that you had to use a pair of pliers to remove your hands from the menus. Okay? Now, that'll help you remember multiplier. Now, what about multiplicand? So let's just imagine that you place your food after you remove your hand from the menus. You have your food, and it's now in cans given to the customer. And then well, let's just think about it for a second. Aren't you giving your customers a product? Presentation, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to be discussing the divisor and the dividend. But before we do, okay. So what is a divisor and a dividend? right. So what's the divisor? Well, that's the 5. What's the dividend? There's the 50. That's the quotient. Okay. Or you could have 50 divided by 5 equals that. Again, that's your dividend, that's your divisor, that's your quotient. Okay. Now, here's the thing. How are you going to remember that? Okay. Let's imagine that we have Captain Divisor. Okay. He's a superhero. And he has a lot of dividend checks. And he likes to quote his dividend checks to everyone. He's conceited. What can I say? There you go. Now, what in the heck is that? Well, that is called an OBELUS, an obulus. But there's one more thing I want to share with you guys. What if at some point you see an equation like this? Well, if you see that, that's your divisor, that's your dividend, that's your quotient, and this one has a remainder of 2. Where do you find mathematical symbolism like this? Well, if you read Euclid Book 10, you're going to find it real quick. And there you go. I hope this information will not only help you in your mathematical quests, but also if you are reading Euclid Book 10, you're going to need this information as well. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Molly, I see you're still here. Are you learning anything? Truly, I hope you are, because you all need it. You really do. Okay. What about fractions? This will be one. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Okay, start again. I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and I'm going to help you solve fractions today. Take a look at that. Fractions. You're going to solve that. But first, okay. So what do you need to know about fractions? Well, all fractions have a top number and a bottom number. Oops. The top number is a numerator. This line here, an obulus. Okay? So, this would be your dividend. This would be your divisor. And that's it. And that's all really you need to know. So basically, when you have a fraction, you're going to divide the numerator by the denominator. In this case, that would be your dividend. That would be your divisor. There you go. And that's all really you need to know. I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to be discussing two things. One is called the superscript, and the other is called the subscript. I'll go ahead and put this up here. Oh boy, that was bad. But before I discuss this particular topic, okay, let's go ahead and discuss this, shall we? The superscript comes from two Latin terms. Super is a Latin prefix, which means above, and script means to write above something else. That's what it means, okay? So, how does a superscript work? Well, in order to truly understand and comprehend all this, what you have to do is you have to think of an agrarian society. Where you started out with square areas. Like that. Hence the name square, okay? So if you have 5 squared, it would actually be 5 times 5, which would equal 25. Just like that. So what that 25 back in the old days would represent is a square area. Now, if you have the number 3, okay, so let's say we have 2 to the third power, you'd have 2 times 2 times 2. Well, what's 2 times 2? That's 4. What's 4 times 2? That's 8. There you go. Now you say, well, what does the 3 represent? If the 2 represents a square area, well, then and let me erase this, shall we? The 3, on the other hand, and I'll put this back in here just a second, and this is kind of a crude drawing. The 3 represents a cubed, so that'd be a cubed area. Okay, this is where they get the cubed area. So you have a square area and a cubed area. All right. Now, what about subscripts? They become very, very important if you have a number line. Let's say you have a line and you're plotting 3 points. Then you can say P1 represents certain coordinates, P2 represents certain coordinates, and P3 represents certain coordinates. Why is that important? Trying to figure out slope, okay? If you're trying to calculate slope on a number line, you're going to need to know this, okay? Because P1 would be the first point on your line, P2 the second, P3 the third. Simple as that. Sometimes they'll actually put Koine Greek letters in place of numbers. So watch out for that. If you're doing physics, chemistry, geometry, algebra, some levels of algebra, even calculus, you'll see that. you'll see that instead of 1, 2, and 3, they'll have Koine Greek letters like alpha, beta, theta, you name it. All right. And this will be very important to our discussion of the Bezier curve when it comes up again soon. All right. And as I continue my discussion of Rene Descartes' book, The Geometry, you'll find it becomes important there too. You're like, wow. Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Time to get some more stuff to drink. How long do you think I'm going to survive on this little live stream? Well, we still got, we got 2 people watching. Great. Whoever you are, let me know who you are. That way I can continue right on. Oh, and maybe I thought maybe we had 3 of them in there. Okay. All right. Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm going to continue my series on Koine Greek letters with this one. It's called the Eta. But before I do, okay, let's discuss this letter. The Koine Greek letter Eta is the 7th letter of the Koine Greek alphabet. In particle physics, it can be used to represent mesons. What are mesons? Well, from what I understand, they appear to be a group of particles that contain quarks and antiquarks. And if you want to know more about quarks and antiquarks, you can read this web article that I left you a link to in the description box of this video. Okay? Now, this letter can also represent the Carnot heat engine. This involves the second law of thermodynamics. Now, what is this second law of thermodynamics? Well, it involves heat not being able to move from some kind of reservoir of a lower temperature to a reservoir of a higher temperature. This takes place during a cyclic process. The word cycle should sound familiar to you. If you've ever ridden a bicycle or a motorcycle, then you would be able to be familiar with the cyclic process. And again, I've left you more web articles for you to read in the comments section below. All right, I encourage you to read these articles. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Let's go to the next letter. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to be discussing the Koine Greek letter theta. That's what it looks like. Okay, but before I do, all right, let's discuss it, shall we? The Koine Greek letter theta is the 8th letter of the Koine Greek alphabet. You will often see this letter used in both geometry and in calculus, but it does have other uses. It can be used to represent a plane angle in geometry, but it could also be used to represent a potential temperature in meteorology. I will let you do some extra research on this letter in your free time. So do some research, and I encourage you to leave comments in the comment section below letting me know what you learned from your research. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. Oh. Almost cut off the live stream. Woo, I'm glad I didn't do that. Let's do this. Glad they have a backup on that. Woo, let's see. There we go. Forgot to pull this up. Shame on me. All right. That can't be. That's better. Oh. There we go. Okay. Oh, that's terrible. That's not the way it's supposed to form. Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to show you how to write the cursive letter Q. Okay, you can see here what you're going to do is you're going to up like this, come down, curly Q, and come up like this for the capital letter. And this one, you're going to go up like this, up like this. You're going to go straight down a straight line. Then you're going to curl back and come up like this. Boy, I screwed this up. Let's try that again, shall we? Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to show you how to write the cursive letter Q. But before I do, okay, this is the cursive letter Q. If you're going to write the capital Q, you're going to go up and then come out like this. That's for the capital one. For the lowercase, you're going to go up like this, and you're going to make this little circle here. You're going to come straight down, then curl back up like this and go up like this. Now, normally, I would show you words that would contain the letter Q. The only problem is every letter Q, okay, every word that has a letter Q in it that starts with the letter Q, well, you have to follow it up with the letter U. And so we will show you how to do this in the cursive U video, which is coming up very, very soon. So if you watch the end screen, you'll see a link to the letter U video, and you'll be able to see that. All right? So I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to show you how to write the cursive letter R. But before I do, okay, let's show you how to do this. This one's real easy. You go straight down like this. You come back up. You make the circle here. You go straight down like this. And that's how you get your letter R here, your capital one. And this one is just up like this, across, and down. All right. Let's start with this. There's your first word, rain. How about this? Random. That's how you'd write random. Okay. How about this? The presentation. I will tell you more in a future presentation, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. How we doing? Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to show you how to write the cursive letter S. But before I do, okay, now then, how do you write the cursive letter S? Well, that's real simple. You're going to go up like this, make a little figure 8 right there, and right down here, and you come up and you draw a line just like that. That's how you do the S. Lowercase is even simpler. You go up like this, come down like this, and go one like that. Well, what if you wanted to write the word sand? How about the word sail? There you go. Sail. How about the word sign? Whoops, that don't look good. Too good. And there's the word sign. Okay. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to teach you how to write the cursive letter T. But before I do, okay, let's do this, shall we? Top part of this is just one giant wavy line. Go up, down, and back up. Then you come down here, and you kind of draw a backwards letter J and just put this like right there. The other one, you just go up, go down. It's like a mountain. Put a T right and put a line right across that, and you got your letter T. Now, let's start with my name. There's my name, Ted. Oops. That'd be bad. There you go. Time. There's that one. How about the word today? No, we can't do word today. Sorry. I forgot. We haven't reached the letter Y yet. So let's see. How about tape? Ooh, that's terrible. There's the word tape. That's how you do that one. All right. I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Good evening, everybody. It's once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to teach you how to write the cursive letter U. But before I do, curve up, go down, up like this, and come down. Sort of like a mountain. You go up to the top of this mountain, go straight down, come up like this, and go straight down again. Same basic concept with this here. You go up, and down. And as I promised in my video about the cursive letter Q, we're going to show you how to write some cursive words with Q in them. Oh, that's terrible. And there we have the word quartz. Okay. Now, the word quartz, of course, is like quarts of milk. Okay. And how about Q-U? Oh, that's terrible. Let's try that. How about the word quarter? Q. Oh, that's even worse. There you go. There's the word quarter. Now, you could have the word umpire. There you go. There's the word umpire. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. And if you'll excuse me for just 1 second. I was getting a little loud, folks. Can't have that. Okay. Now that we're done with that, how you guys doing? All right. Oh, we got 3 people in here. It would be wonderful if you guys would introduce yourselves and let me know who you are. That'd be really nice. Okay. I'm Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to update a video that I did a long time ago. And this is going to be about the Uniform Resource Locator. Okay. Now, before I begin, okay, let's begin, shall we? Approximately 15 years ago, I uploaded a video on this very topic. I decided that the resolution of that video was poor, and because of that, I will once again present this topic, but I will include more details in this video that I did on the last one, okay? Have you ever thought about the United States Postal Service when you think about this topic? I think you should. Every computer in the world has a unique address. And the same is true with any resource that is connected to the internet. So every text document, every photo, every video, they all have web addresses, okay? And that also includes routers have an address, and so do actual computers themselves. They have addresses. So what is an actual resource? Well, again, I have to say resources are documents, photos, videos, anything that you consume on the internet, banners, you name it. They're all resources. Okay, and every one of these resources, whether it be a music file, a video file, a document, whatever, they all have web addresses. Okay. All right. Now, let's go back to the year 1982. Several universities had created private computer networks. Each network had its own address. Each computer on the network had its own address, and each resource stored on those computers had their own address. But the time had come to link these university network computers together. Okay. So what was the problem? The problem was that these computer networks had unique protocols, okay? They weren't universally accepted, okay? This is why I was talking about the network protocol and the transmission control protocol. You remember all those videos I did a while back? This is why, okay? Computers that weren't already connected to these networks didn't recognize the protocols of these university networks. They just didn't. And if this problem was just localized to computer networks, the solution could have been created, but there was a larger problem lurking just beyond the horizon. And that problem involved electronic mail, which is called email. The exact details of this problem can be found in a web article. I've included a hyperlink to that web article down here in the description box of this video. You can read it for yourself. I I will tell you what I've learned from this web article, and then I will allow you to do extra research on the topic. Okay? The ARPANET had its own network control protocol, but in 1982, it had plans to switch to the transmission control protocol. Why was this transmission control protocol so important? It had to do with something called a hierarchy. Now, what is a hierarchy? It's sort of like military ranks. You have your privates, you have your sergeants, you have your lieutenants, you have your colonels, et cetera, and you go all the way up. And I didn't say those in any particular order, but I'm just saying that everything had a rank. Okay? All right? Domain names have a simpler hierarchy. First, you have the idea. First, you have the ID of the router that's going to take you to the computer, which has the resource that you want. Then you have the ID of the computer that actually has the resource, and then you have an ID of the actual resource itself. But there's more to it than that. There is, if you're going to discuss this topic, you have to refer to something, a computer called the PDP-11. Okay? And in this web article, the computer known as a PDP-11 was actually discussed. All right? What can I say about the PDP-11? For starters, I can say that the letters PDP are actually an acronym for a program data processor. It's the first time you actually hear the term data processor. That was long before I became a data processor. Well, not that long before I became, but it was a while back. I was officially declared a data processor in 1989. This was developed almost a decade earlier. Okay? And as I just stated, this is a mini computer. Okay? The PDP-11 was a mini computer. It was not a microcomputer. It was a mini computer. It could store information on paper tape, and it could connect to an ASR33 teletype for output purposes. Okay? Now, if you're not familiar with the word teletype, if you ever watched the television program WKRP in Cincinnati, okay, watch what the newscaster in that television show uses news reports, okay? And you get it. Several computer programs use this mini computer to create the Unix operating system and the C programming language. That's a lot. If I read this web article correctly, the PDP-11 was used to find computers that stored resources that people needed. For instance, if a university in those days had 10 computers connected to the PDP-11 device, or the computer, okay, it's a PDP-11 computer, and let's say one of the 10 computers had a document about the 1929 stock market crash stored on it, then a computer using the transmission control protocol could instruct the PDP-11 to connect to the university computer with the document about the 1929 crash. Basically, the university turned their let's hope I get this right. So you have the PDP-11. Then you have wires like this. Here's computer A, B, and the resource Okay, so you have your PDP-11, you have your computers A, B, and C, and this 1929 stock market crash document is stored on this one. There's complicated. Now, all of this transmission control protocol stuff finally led to the creation of the domain name service, which I discussed previously in a previous video. The original name of the Uniform Resource Locator was the Universal Resource Locator. So at that time, what was included in the Uniform Resource Locator? Well, as I stated before, many universities were using the PDP-11 mini computers that were connected to a 56 kilobyte modem. So the URL would have the name of the PDP-11, and they'd have the telephone number of the 56K modem. Okay, that was bare bones basic there. Now, then it would have, like I said, it had the telephone number of the 56K modem, the name of the PDP-11 computer, and then the name of the computer that would actually have the resource, and then, of course, the name of the resource. And if this particular resource was password protected, the PDP-11 would have to match what you're sending to it in line of a username and password to the actual username and password that was connected to that resource. Now, I'm hoping that all the stuff I just explained to you is very helpful. If you have any questions, you can leave them down here in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Okay? And if you want to know more information about the PDP-11 and how the computer networks work and all whole 9 yards, you're more than welcome to travel across the internet if you want. All right? I will tell you more in a future video, so like for you. Okay, we still got 2 people in here. That's great. All right. Guys, feel educated yet? Good evening, everybody. This once again, Ted the Speed Learner, and I'm going to cover another key on your keyboard tonight. This time, we're going to be talking about the print screen and system request. All right, but before I do, let's get into this, shall we? So what is the print screen and system request key on your keyboard? That's a very interesting question. In order to get the answer to this question, we have to read a couple of web articles, and I will have links to them down here in the description box below. Now, let's think about the days when people used computer languages like the Common Business-Oriented Language or the Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. What if the screen on your computer displayed some code from a program you were writing and you didn't feel like grabbing a notebook full of paper and copying every line of code you had just written onto some notebook paper? Well, back then, if you pressed the print screen button, the computer would take a snapshot of what was displayed on your computer screen, and it would send that information to your printer. Yeah, you can actually print it right off the bat. Wow. Of course, the computer technology has evolved. In the 21st century, if you press the print screen button, it will take a literal snapshot of your computer screen. It'd be like taking a JPEG photo or a PNG photo or whatever. Okay? Now, this image would be stored temporarily on your computer clipboard. Then you could paste this image into an email or into a word processing document or into a Photoshop type program, whatever you want to do with it. Okay, there's actually a program called GIMP, but we'll get into that in another video. I'll show you how to work that one too. Like I say, you can make an actual photo out of it. You really could. Okay. Now this answers one of 2 questions. But what does the system request do? Well, before I answer that, I will tell you that there's a thing called Microsoft Paint. It has been updated, and there's some new features on the thing. And one of these days, I'll actually make a video about it and show you the new features. All right. Let's go back to the system request. In the 21st century, for the most part, this button on your computer doesn't, or your keyboard doesn't do anything. Just sits there and just looks at you. This was not this case many years ago. Now, there are some computer software that you can actually buy and install on your computer that actually would use the system request. But it's expensive and you probably don't need it. But in the early days of the IBM personal computer, it actually did something. And that's because people like me used to program in the common business-oriented language, the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code, and things like the formula translator or a computer language called Pascal, which was based on Blaise Pascal. And I could go on and on and on, okay? You talk about the C programming language, you're talking about assembler, whatever you wanted to use, you could do that, okay? If you're writing lines of code like that, you needed this system request. What this would do is it would pause your computer program and bring up a specialized menu that could help you maybe restart your computer or do other things. There is a web article that describes the system request quite nicely in the description box below. All right, I want to thank you for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. How we doing? We still got one in there. Very good. All right. We've been on this thing now for 2.5 hours, and we're still not done. Would you believe that? Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted, the Speed Learner, and tonight we're going to cover the topic of I do. All right. So, what is the deal with greater than or less than? Where did the greater than or less than symbols actually come from? Well, according to historians, there was a British mathematics expert named Thomas Harriot. And I'm going to write his name down here. And there he is, Thomas Harriot. And I've looked at the materials that he had, and believe me, he put these things. Okay? I'm not going to present a full history about Thomas Harriot in this particular video. It would just make this video way too long, and I don't want to get into that. But I do have a web article, and I have put the link to it down here in the description box below. You can read it for yourself. All right? But I will give you a couple of takeaways that I got from the article. First of all, this guy knew about anything that you could know about navigation at sea. Okay. He also did experiments with light refraction. Okay. This guy was an expert at trigonometry. I'm not kidding you. This guy really knew his trig well. I'm pretty sure he probably also knew calculus. So there you have that. Okay. And this light refraction research that he did, not to mention the navigation stuff he did for the ships, all of that was based on triangles, and this is where he got the idea for the greater than or less than signs. I'm almost positive of that. Okay. Now, in the year 1631, he started writing a book called the Artis Analyticae Praxis ad Equationes Algebraicas Resolvendas. And I probably mispronounced all that. I will leave the title of that book in the description box below so you can look this up for yourself. I've also left a link so you can find the book for yourself. And as you can see from these old pages, the greater than and less than symbols look very similar to our own symbols. But as you can also see, the symbols look more like triangles, the traditional greater than and less than symbols. All right, so we're only left with one other question. And the question is, which one's the greater than symbol? Which one's the less than? This is the greater than symbol right here. There's your greater than symbol. And since we know that's the greater than symbol, this is the less than symbol. So if you point to the left, you're going down. If you point to the right, you're going up. There you have it, folks. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Are we still rocking and rolling? I bet we are. Good evening, everyone. This is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to update a video that I did a long time ago about calculator batteries, and I'm going to tell you what kind of batteries you would need to put into scientific calculators. All right, but before I do, okay, here we go. This is a Texas Instruments number 80 scientific calculator. You say, what kind of batteries does this thing take? Well, most scientific calculators like this one here will take the 2032 battery, which you now see right in front of you. If it does not take the 2032, it will most likely take the 2025. So unless you find some funky battery in your scientific calculator, which would be a kind of a cheapy type thing, I would definitely buy a 2032 or a 2025. You could actually open up the battery compartment and see for yourself which one it'll take, and then use it. Okay? So at this point, now you know what these major scientific calculators, what kind of batteries they actually take. Why don't you let me know in the comment section below what battery your scientific calculator takes? All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Are we still here? There's a guy. He's just signed in. His name is Senpai Kartik. Well, I'm glad you found my... I have a very small screen these days, and it's hard for me to see some of these things. But I'm glad you found my channel randomly, and I'm glad you like my content. I'm hoping you're enjoying this presentation right now. You can run through it again whenever you like. I'd love for you to do that. So anyway, what's left? Well, I'm going to take a very, very quick commercial break, and then I'm going to review some songs. You're going to love this. Be right back. All right, we are back. Okay, Senpai Kartik says the fact that you're still uploading since many years is awesome. Well, thank you very much for the compliment. I really appreciate it. It's been an interesting road, to say the very least. I tell you, YouTube's changed a lot in the last 15 years. And if you're watching my videos, you're going to see how many I have. See, the awesome part about this is not how many years I've been on this platform. It's how many videos I have. Oh, man, you got a lot to watch. I got 15 years of the content on here. So you could about imagine I've put out and put out and put out so many videos. So, yeah, you're like, oh my gosh, how much do I have to watch? Oh, man, are you in for a tasty treat? Oh, you're going to have some fun. Okay. Are you a teacher at a university? No, I am not. Actually, I am a level 1 data processor. That is what I actually am. And because I was able to do with my mind what I used to do with computers, which is store information very, very quickly and process it just as fast. Well, there you are. And so that's what I am. Yeah. So now, what I usually do on this broadcast, just to pass the time, is I record little mini videos, which is what you normally now see on the channel. You see these little mini videos. Well, I record those so you guys can, this is kind of like being backstage at my studio. See what I mean? You guys get to see the work I normally do. There you go. So when I'm recording, my screen actually shows me the text that I want to read here on the mini videos. So when I'm actually doing my presentations, I may not actually see what you are saying until I finish my presentation. Then I check back to see if anybody said anything or whatever. So bear with me on that. You'll see this in every live stream. I'll this over and over and over again. See what I mean? Okay, so we have some music reviews to do. I think I got about 6 or 7 of them to go. Yeah, this is going to get fun. Or are we ever going to have some fun? Okay. Here we go. Gotta go down. We gotta go down. Aha! Aha! We are here, folks. Finally, we're gonna get to the last videos for tonight. I mean, this has been a long. I've been on the air for 2.5 hours now. Wow. Not everybody can say that. Okay, we're almost done for tonight. This video response is going to go out to Don McLean, and that's because a video is uploaded. Obviously, when Don McLean did this song years ago, music videos weren't even a thing. Okay. But his song, American Pie, has been uploaded. He is still around, believe it or not. That's kind of cool. And I've listened to a song for many, many years. American Pie is a very famous song. I've heard it many, many a times. And I know he's been asked lots of questions about this particular song, but I'm going to try in this particular video to ask him questions that nobody has ever asked him before. It's a little challenging. We're going to see if I can pull it off. All right, so I have listened to his song, and now I'm going to ask him some questions about his song. But first, All right, let's ask these questions. Just because you play music doesn't mean people will want to dance. Now, I realize that the news in the newspaper was rather sad, and that's part of the reason why you were shivering. But could it have been also that you were delivering newspapers on a cold and cloudy day? Okay, I don't even know where you were at the time. But what was the weather like when you delivered the newspapers? Okay. And how many newspapers did you actually deliver? Was the death of Buddy Holly the only thing that happened on February 3rd, 1959? Well, I hate to tell you this, but no, it wasn't. American Airlines Flight 320 crashed into the East River in New York. And I bet there were other things that happened on that day that Don McLean didn't mention. I want anybody who's watching this video right now, and I don't care if you're a friend of Don McLean, I don't care if you're Don McLean yourself or anybody else, I want you to leave comments in the comment section below telling me about historical events that you found that actually happened on February 3rd, 1959. I'd love to hear about it. Okay. At that time, many people had radios in their houses. I wonder how many of them actually heard about the tragedy on their radios before they ever read the newspaper. Okay. And I wonder if this Don McLean, when he delivered all those newspapers, actually heard about the tragedy from a transistor radio. So how could he have ever driven any kind of an automobile to a levee? I guess he could have ridden his bike to a levee. And why was the levee dry? Now, the Book of Love was written by the Monotones and was playing on the radio in 1958. Is it possible that Don McLean heard that song when he delivered his newspapers? Hence the inspiration. Did Don McLean attend church? And Don McLean didn't know how to slow dance at the age of 13? Are you kidding me? Most kids at that time did know how to do that. So it's really surprising me that he did not know how to slow dance. Who did Don McLean see dancing in the gym? According to the song, the pickup truck was some kind of a Chevy truck, but I wonder what make and model of the truck it was. Now, I realize that this song has a lot of symbolism in it, but let's think about this. How does moss grow fat? And on which side of the stone did the moss grow? And where was the stone? He never tells us. Why would James Dean lend a coat to a jester? When Don McLean mentions a thorny crown, I begin to think about Jesus of Nazareth. But if that's the reference, then Jesus wasn't really looking down. He was being crucified, okay? And his head was bowed because of it, okay? So I don't think he really stole his thorny crown. And again, if this was a reference to Jesus, then the God of Israel returned a verdict. I can tell you that. And if you want to know what the verdict was, feel free to ask me in the comments section down here below. I bet the quartet, Don McLean mentioned a quartet, and I bet it was a reference to the Beatles band. But what park were they practicing in? What dirges were Don McLean and his friends singing? And where were they singing the dirges? How hot was that summer? How could birds lift a fallout shelter? Was the birds actually airplanes? You know, I know there was a lot of symbolism, so maybe he was saying birds and really meant airplanes. Who knows? And how many birds would be needed to do such a task? Or in this case, how many airplanes would it take? What football teams were playing? Which Beatles song was being played in the halftime show? How could a marching band stop a team full of football players? Why was there no time to start again? Who was the gal that was singing the blues, and what was she singing? Who broke the church bells? Why did the three men catch a train for the coast? All right. Now, first of all, Don is a very talented singer, and this song was very well written, and it was very well performed on the instruments that were included on the song. But there are still questions left unanswered with this song. All the musical instruments were well blended in the song, just like I said. And if he wanted to keep the answers to these questions to the questions raised in the song for a little while, and he didn't want to answer them right off the bat, that's fine. I know Carly Simon is doing the same thing with the song "You're So Vain," but I think at this point it's about time he finally reveals all the answers. One day it'll be actually too late, and we, your audience, would really like the answers before you catch the train for the coast. I'm going to give the song a B plus only because he has not answered all these questions. All right. If you're Don McLean or a friend of Don McLean and you want to leave the answers to these questions down here in the comment section below, I encourage you to do that. If you're not Don McLean or a friend of Don McLean and you want to, let's just say, feel free to go over to Don McLean's YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. This video response is going to go out to Meghan Trainor, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled All About the Bass. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this update is because I didn't say the title of the song right the last time I did this. And number two, that was a low resolution video. This is going to be much higher and more pleasant to watch. All right, I watched your music video, I listened to your song, and I had some questions about your song. But first, all right, let's start with the video. Well, the video is pleasant to look at. I'll have to give you that. It's interesting that everyone in the video is wearing pastel colors. That's probably because of the references to Barbie that you made in the song. And I have to admit that Meghan Trainor and all the people who starred in that video look nice in their outfits. I had to give you that one, okay? I will also admit that Meghan Trainor is a very talented dancer. But her background singers have totally white hair and they're wearing pastel makeup? No, just no. I will also say that I saw a pastel bed, and if I were to see something like that in real life, I'd be running for the door, really. Now, as for the lyrics, well, I have to agree. Who in the heck would want to be a size 2 anyway? And how would you shake it? And why are you supposed to shake it? Did you ask every boy in the United States if they want to chase that boom boom? And what did you consider the right places? How do you know that all the magazines are using that particular Photoshop software? They might be using a different software. You know, they've got GIMP, they've got Paint, they've got all kinds of software. So how do you know they're using that particular software? And how do you know that everything is perfect? Did you attend medical school? Did your mother attend medical school? Did you ask every boy in the United States if they wanted to hold more booty? Booty ever go away? Why would I want to tell any thin female anything about their body image? I think that should be something that a family member or a doctor may want to discuss with them. So what are my conclusions about this song? Well, I'm sure Meghan Trainor meant well when she co-wrote these lyrics. And the music is somewhat hypnotic but pleasant to listen to. I'm sure a lot of ladies admire this song for what they think is a song reinforcing positive body image. But this song is not subtle at all. I mean, it's just straightforward. And it won't appeal to everyone. It really won't. And I don't condone or endorse lyrics full of expletives, and it sounds like she's using auto-tune. If that's the case, I wouldn't condone that either. So I will give this particular song and video a C. All right, if you happen to be Mega Trainer right now, you want to leave the answers to any and all these questions down here in the comment section below, please do so. If you are not Mega Trainer and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Mega Trainer's YouTube channel, watch her videos, rate her videos, comment on her videos, subscribe to her channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell her that the Speed Learner has sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. David Berger says, "Hi, what's up?" Well, I'm pleased to see you. Who else is in our live stream tonight? Come on in and have a sit down, and you can watch me in action. Good evening. Oh, that's not good. Okay, let's try that again. This video response is going to go out to the Crash Test Dummies, and that's because you guys uploaded a music video entitled I watched the whole video, and I have perused through the lyrics, and I have some questions about the lyrics of your song. But before I get started, okay, I will start this review by complimenting the video. I wonder who created all the props, and I will also say that everyone in this band is a great guitar. These people, there were so many of them that were actually playing guitar. They're very talented guitar players. I'll give you that. But what about the lyrics? How does a car collision change a child from black to white? I'd like to know that one. So there was a young lady who refused to enter a school locker room and change her clothes. What does this have to do with a boy who was involved in a car collision? Were the boy and the young lady classmates? Did this young lady at some point show this boy her birthmarks? Did they punish the young lady? Why did she finally relent to changing in the locker room? And then these lyrics shift to yet another student. Are all these students attending the same school? Why does this boy's parents forcefully take him to church? Why did the parents of this child shake over the church floor? First of all, the song fails to connect the lives of these three children. The song itself is very slow, and it has a very poor chorus. It's almost hypnotic, but it's just pathetic. And what's worse is that this chorus is also the title of the song. I mean, this title just screams, don't listen to this. Don't listen to this. Okay? Because of all this, I'm going to have to give this song an F-. If you happen to be a Crash Test Dummies, you are more than welcome to leave the answers to any of the questions in the comment section below. And if you're not one of the Crash Test Dummies and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to the Crash Test Dummies YouTube channel, watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. David Berger says, you too. Crazy Josh Cravey says, good evening, Ted. Welcome to the live stream. I'm glad you're watching. I've already done 2.5 hours. Well, almost 3 now. And there's just a few more songs I'm going to review, and then my presentation will be over. You can go ahead and rewind the whole thing and start from the beginning. I really would love your feedback on this. The rest of these songs are going to be a little bit better. Not near the lyrics, not near anything. This video response is going to go out to Champagne, and that is because they sung a song called What About Us? I've watched their music video, I've read through their lyrics, and I had a few questions about their lyrics. Okay, let's get into this. I don't have a lot to say about this music video. It's just it's a really simplistic video, and it's done really well. I have to give the video part an A. Okay. What about the lyrics? What are your needs? What makes you think the fire's out? What would make your significant other think that you're ending the relationship? What lovers have you seen that have parted ways? What were you expecting your significant other to say to you that would reassure you that your relationship was on solid ground? All right. The instruments of this song are blended well together. This is truly a perfect love song. Everyone in this song has talented voices, and the lyrics of the song are well written. I have no choice but to give this song a solid A. All right, if you happen to be Champagne right now, feel free to leave the lyrics, leave the answers to the questions I posed in this video down here in the comment section below. And if you're not Champagne and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Champagne's YouTube channel, watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Woo! Oh, I got 4 people in my live stream. That's fantastic. I'm just thrilled. And for those of you who have just joined us, remember you can watch the live stream all the way from the beginning and watch all the way to the end. You'll learn a ton of stuff tonight. I covered a lot of ground. Okay. Oh, and one more thing. Let me know over here in the chat box that you were here and who you were, because I have no idea. Okay. This video response is going to go out to Bill Withers, and that's because you uploaded a song called Stand By Me. Well, actually, Bill Withers did not upload this. He passed away a few years ago, and somebody else actually uploaded this music to YouTube. Okay. Now, I've heard this song for many years now, and I've gone through the lyrics, and anybody who was a friend of Bill Withers or knew him or something, you're more than welcome to answer the questions I'm going to pose here in just a second. But first, okay, let's go on. What pain and sorrow have you experienced? Who is your friend and that needs your emotional support? Why do you think your friend possesses pride? What would your friend need to borrow? What problems do you have that your friend might understand? What load is your friend carrying? Now, Bill Withers has a very talented voice. The instruments in the song are well blended together. This song evokes very powerful emotions, and so therefore I have to give the song a solid A. All right. If you are a friend of Bill Withers or you are an expert in Bill Withers and you want to try to answer any and all these questions, feel free to do that in the comment section below. If not, go over to Bill Withers' YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like to stay tuned. I haven't heard of a lot of these songs. You're giving me some new listening material. I'm so glad about that. Now, some of these songs are great, and some of these songs are horrible, way beyond horrible, okay? And the last time I did a live stream, I did the young folks one, and that was just total. I couldn't believe. But Boogie Shoes was another one that was. It wasn't really tremendously unpleasant to listen to. It's just dull. It was a really dull song. I was like, really? I mean, I don't want to be put to sleep. I just want to listen to a song. But anyway, you get the idea. Anyway, so when I find a song that's that bad, yeah, I can boogie down to that one personally. I'm glad you can, but when I was a kid, that just about put me to sleep. I was like, please, let's have something a little more exciting, shall we? Anyway, but there you go. All right, but I'm going to definitely give you one in just a second that I know you've never heard of. Most people haven't. I didn't even know this thing existed until I did it today. I literally turned it on today. I was like, really? This exists? Okay, yeah, this is gonna be fun. All right. This video response is going to go out to Tracy Ullman, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled They Don't Know. I watched your music video and I read through all the lyrics, and I have some questions about all of this. So I will ask those in just a second. But first, okay, let's get into this, shall we? Is there any connection between the guy playing the gong in the beginning of this video and the lady applying the makeup to her face? I hope that green car in this video isn't a taxi. And what would be worse, and I found out later in the video, it was actually the guy that she's dating in the video. That was his car. Like, oh my gosh, that's a horrible, horrible car. I wouldn't be caught. Well, let's just say I would not be caught in the driver or passenger seat of that car. It just wouldn't happen. That's an awful looking car. This guy has invited his beautiful lady to a bowling alley for a date. And I did watch the video a little bit more carefully. And when she was at the bowling, not fancy dolled up, okay, like she was at the beginning of the video, but still, like, no. I mean, you know, if you're really a good couple and you finally got married, you just want to have a good date night, yeah. But you know, if you're taking a gal and trying to impress her, the bowling alley is this and this, okay. But anyway, if you want to have an afternoon piece of fun, that's fine. But that's not what I would consider a date type thing. All right. I have to admit that the people dancing in their platform shoes are very talented, but are they friends of this lady or this young man? Nobody ever says. We switch from a scene where people are dancing in platform shoes to this young lady shopping at a discount department store. What does a department store have to do with any of the people dancing? Okay, let's go on to the lyrics. Why don't you know how to leave the guy you're with? Maybe the guys who you are telling about your boyfriend are correct in their assessment of your boyfriend. Did you ever consider that? What do you and your boyfriend do besides hold hands? Maybe I shouldn't ask. Who is living in the past? The lyrics of this song don't make sense at all, and clearly the music video is very confusing. The instruments in the song sound like they've been thrown together in some nonsensical way. Even the title of this song screams, "Don't listen to me." I'm forced to give this song an F-. All right, if you happen to be Tracy Ullman at this point and you're still watching this video, feel free to leave answers to any of these questions in the comment section below. And if you happen not to be Tracy Ullman and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Tracy Ullman's YouTube channel, watch her videos, rate her videos, comment on her videos, subscribe to her channel if you like or if you dare, and tell her that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Whew. Any more people? This video response is going to go out to KC and the Sunshine Band, and that is because you guys uploaded a video with a song in it called Get Down Tonight. Now, I grant you there was no, quote, music video associated with this, mainly because KC and the Sunshine Band were playing just before the video revolution took off. But anyway, they do have some video footage of these people playing live. Okay, fine. So I can't review the video, but I can review the lyrics. There's not a lot of them, but they're nice. Okay. But before I do, I'm gonna have to redo that one. This video response is going to go out to KC and the Sunshine Band, and that's because you uploaded a video onto YouTube with the song Get Down Tonight. Now, there was no music video connected to this. They did have some video footage of the band actually playing live, okay? But there was no music video quote to review on this one. However, I was able to review the lyrics, and I'll do that in just a minute. But first, alrighty. When it comes to lyrics, what do you like to do together? What kind of dancing do you like to do? What places are you meeting at? The lyrics of this song aren't incredibly complicated and are easy to recite. The guitar solo at the beginning of this song was played with excellence. The drums and the horns played in this classic are blended well with the synthesizer and the guitars. There are other instruments that are perfectly blended into the song as well, and the song even has great background singers. It's just perfect every bit of the way. I'm forced to give this song an A. All right. If you are KC and the Sunshine Band and you want to leave answers to any and all these questions, you can do so down here in the comment section below. And if you are not KC and the Sunshine Band and you want to, you can go right over to the KC and the Sunshine Band's YouTube channel, watch their videos, rate their videos, comment on their videos, subscribe to their channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell them that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, are we all still here? Excellent. I have one more song to review. This video response is going to go out to the friends and family of Bill Withers, and that's because you guys uploaded a video with the song Lovely Day in it, okay? And Lovely Day is a song that's been around for a long, long time. I've heard the lyrics many times before. As for there was no video to review, so we won't be able to review a video, but we'll be able to review the lyrics. Hang in there, folks. All right. Why are you sleeping that close to a window? Why don't you have a curtain blocking the sunlight? What is weighing heavy on your mind? Do you think your wife will be able to solve the problem on your mind? What are you facing that seems impossible to face? Now, this is not one of those super unpleasant songs to listen to. It's kind of nice. It's almost hypnotic, okay? But the chorus of this song, although being hypnotic, also becomes annoying as you continue to listen to it. I will say, however, that the musical instruments in the song are well blended. So I'm forced to give this song a C due to the annoying chorus. If it was for the annoying chorus, I would probably give it a higher grade. All right. If you're a friend or family member of Bill Withers and you want to try to answer any of the questions I presented in this video, feel free to do so in the comment section below. And if you're not any of these people, feel free to go over to Bill Withers' YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, Tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. There's one last night, and I'm going to do this mainly because I want this new intro to be played in every single one of my videos until people get the idea that what's going on is ridiculous. And after that, then I'll give you some final closing remarks, and I'll shut this live stream down. Okay, so hang on just a second. This is going to be the new intro that's going to be kind of fused in to each one of these videos. Okay. I'm probably one of those rare YouTube personalities that will never go, oh, please, 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 please like my video. And don't forget to subscribe because it's going to cause YouTube to share my video to everybody on this platform. Why will I not say that? Because it's just simply not true. Let me tell you something. There's no way YouTube could determine how popular a video can be just by the likes and the subscribe button on the video. Okay, now let me tell you something. Likes will never tell them anything. You can scroll through something and just like all day long, and it'll never tell YouTube anything. And as for the subscribe button, you know why they're telling you that? Number one, to increase the watch time on their videos. That's one. Two, have you noticed the subscribe button recently? You click on it and you have to choose the bell notification. Okay? Now, the bell notification might tell YouTube something about the videos on your channel, but the actual subscribe button itself won't tell them anything. Okay? So, the question is, what things will tell? I'm doing this badly. Let's try this again. I'm just really screwing up here. All right, let's try again. I'm probably one of the rare few YouTube personalities on the YouTube platform that will never go, oh, please, 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 please like my video. And if you would be ever so kind as to subscribe to my channel, which will cause all my videos to be shared all over the platform. Let me tell you something. That ain't going to work. And I'll tell you why. Because YouTube cannot determine what they need to determine, which is whether my videos are keeping you guys on their platform by the use of the like buttons and the subscribe button. Why do these people tell you this? Well, number one, it extends the watch time on their videos, which I'll tell you a little later why that would have an effect. But anyway, the other thing is that the like button itself, you could flip through things all day long, just go like. It's not going to tell YouTube anything, okay? Now, as for the subscribe button, that's a little different story. Have you noticed that when you hit the subscribe button now, this little menu pops up and it sets your bell notifications? There you go. That's why they're telling you that. Now, the bell notifications might tell YouTube something about how popular your channel is, and they might want to share your videos because of it. Okay? But what will cause YouTube to share your videos? Well, there are two things you can... Well, first of all, if people like you who are watching these videos right now were to copy the URL of the video and share it on a different social media platform like Facebook, what used to be Twitter, now is X, Gab, you got Truth Social, Instagram, Threads, whatever you want to share it on, that would get your video shared more, okay? Number two, When you increase the watch time of the video, then YouTube gets an indication that you people are actually watching the whole thing and not just watching bits or pieces and jump cutting through everything in your video. So that is a good indication. The other thing you could do, okay, is you can leave very nice comments in the comments section below. And what that tells them is you were engaged, you watched, you replied, you really liked the content that you were watching, and that helps your ratings as well. So really what you really want to do if you want to increase, if you want to motivate YouTube to share your videos more often, watch the videos all the way through. Well, not you, but I mean your audience needs to watch the videos all the way through, increasing the watch time of every single one of your videos, or have them leave nice comments in the comment section below so that YouTube can see for themselves that, gee, this is a video we want to share all over the platform. And there you go. All right. Let's get back to the video. Thanks for letting me do that. All right, so some parting words since we've been over at this for 3 hours. In my next live stream, I will continue my coverage of the Xerxes 2 project. I will also cover more math terms, and I will review the Diana Ross song, Turn Up the Sunshine. What did you guys think of my live stream? Please let me know. Okay, if you don't see it live, you can leave comments down here in the comment section below. You can tell me whatever you need, and I'll listen to you. I love getting the feedback. I really do. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this particular presentation. The mini videos will be prepared soon, and I will have them up on the air. First of all, I've got to fix the actual new intro. Dang it. I got to add one more thing. Hang on. Oh, that was terrible. Let's try this again. And another thing I need to mention is that I have published 5 Kindle books. They are $5 a piece. If you're interested in purchasing any of these Kindle books, feel free to let me know in the comments section below, and I will send you a hyperlink. And I blew that one. Let's try that again. And another thing I need to mention real quick before we resume our video is that I have published 5 Kindle books. They're $5 a piece. If you want a copy of any of these Kindle books, just leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I'll send you a hyperlink to my latest book, which you now can see on the screen. And then from there, you can find my other 4 Kindle books, and there will be more Kindle books coming soon. It's all up to you. Buy them, and let me know what you think about them. All right, on to the video. There you go. Sorry about that. But I want to know what you guys think of my videos. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. All right. Well, my voice is giving out, so I'm going to go ahead and let this go for tonight. I really appreciate you guys watching me, and I really appreciate all your feedback tonight. It was wonderful, and I hope you learned something tonight. I really do. All right. If you see me tomorrow night, that's because that we were able to go to Warrensburg to videotape the fireworks. If not, I'm sorry it was rained out. Okay? I will definitely tell you guys more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.